Sorry, company policy is that we can only order a new laptop if we don't have usable second-hand ones in stock. But this is not the one I ordered. Yes, it is. You ordered a lightweight laptop, and this is exactly what we've set up for you. I turn the laptop over and show her the company sticker confirming it to be the same classification of lightweight laptop as her request, and show her that it is physically smaller and lighter than her existing laptop. No, I wanted a new silver one. This is unacceptable. I'm going to complain to your boss. She stormed off in a huff, and I could soon hear her complaining inside my boss's office. Unfortunately, although my boss knew I was just following process, he couldn't handle all of the repeated moaning and soon folded and asked me to order a new device for her. I wasn't at all pleased about being overruled when I was simply applying company policy, particularly when it's just a waste of money for a shiny employee that wants the latest silver gadget. So cue malicious compliance time. I could have just scoured our shelf of brand new laptops and dug out a new one for her. We installed dozens of laptops a week. It was a big company, so we always had plenty of new ones in stock. But I was told to order a new one, so that's the process I'd follow. Okay, we can order a brand new silver one for you, but you'll need to raise another request ticket so we can order the laptop from it. I said this knowing full well that this ticket would go to Shiny Employee's manager once again for approval, a manager who has a finite department budget. Sure enough, an hour later, I get a phone call from Shiny Employee's manager. Why is Shiny Employee ordering yet another laptop? She didn't like the color of the laptop we'd prepared for her. It was gray, and she wanted a silver one. How much is this going to cost me? Well, you'd still be paying the monthly lease cost on Shiny Employee's original laptop, as it wasn't due for replacement, plus the lease cost of the lightweight laptop we prepared for her earlier, and there'll also be the lease cost for this new laptop as well. Oh, hell no. I'm not paying for all that. I'll reject this ticket and I'll have a word with her. A short while later, Shiny Employee returns. She's rather quiet and humble now after being chastised by her boss for trying to waste all his budget in the pursuit of having the latest shiny silver gadget. She quietly accepts the gray lightweight laptop we'd prepared earlier for her and then quickly departs. I spend the rest of the day with a grin on my face. OP added an edit at the bottom. It says, edit, as this question has been asked, I wanted to clarify something. The laptops are all on monthly leases, and the way it worked was that the lease cost was aligned to the last department that had the laptop. Once we redeploy a laptop to someone else, the lease is transferred. So as we'd essentially have her original laptop and rejected laptop sitting on our shelves for a bit, her department would still pay the leases until we gave them to someone else. Even if they're only there for a couple of months, that adds up quite quickly. Either way, it was an unnecessary cost that the manager understandably wanted to avoid. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Texas Yankee 212. It says, your boss has no balls. OP responded to this one and said, he was generally a pretty cool guy. I think he was just quite busy and wanted an easy way to get rid of the lady that was ranting beside his desk for several minutes. Still, it worked out. He got rid of her, and her complaining just led to a telling off from her own boss. You see, Karen here doesn't care about the department budget. Karen only cares about how she looks when she's using her laptop. And if it's gray, then people will know it's old, and Karen can't have that. I think the only way this story could have been better was when Karen said that she didn't want the gray lightweight laptop. OP should have taken it back from her, walked back into the storage room, and then you'd hear the sound of a spray can rattling away, and he comes back out with that same gray laptop sprayed with silver paint. This story comes to us from A Quiet Borderline. You need to leave my car alone, if you say so. This is not my story, but my friend Adam's. Adam is a retired police officer, and this takes place in the mid-90s, back when Adam was a beat cop maybe a year or two into his service. At the time this story takes place, A firebug had targeted several businesses over the course of a 3-month period. The fires were put out, but they were getting bigger and bigger, causing thousands of dollars in damage. Everyone was on edge, and the police were patrolling the area every night to try and catch Mr. Firebug. On this particular night, in the middle of February, Adam and his partner Rick drew the short stick and thus were assigned to patrol part of the area. While on patrol, he notices a classic Mercedes-Benz pulling up to a house, and a familiar lady dressed in a thick fur coat steps out. He groans. It's the wife of a local business owner that every officer in this town has had the displeasure to ticket for various parking and traffic violations. It would have been fine if she were a nice lady or something, but no, her 3 default sentences were, "Don't you know who I am? Where's your manager or supervisor?" And, "I'll have your job." Seriously, she was a Karen before Karens were even a thing. Rick points out to Adam that Karen had parked right by a fire hydrant, par for the course. Adam gets ready and steps out of the squad car. "Good evening, Mrs. Entitled, ma'am," Adam said. "What are you doing here?" Karen bellowed. Adam guessed that's the Karen version of the word hello. Working the beat, "You do know you're parked next to a fire hydrant." "So," Karen said, "I'm suggesting you move it before I write you a ticket. I'm not in the mood for extra paperwork tonight." "Listen, you need to leave my car alone or I'll have your job." With that, Karen storms off to the house, goes inside, and slams the door. Adam thought, "If you say so," and proceeded to check the outside of the car for any more violations, and wishing that being a bee was a federal offense. As he's putting the ticket under the windshield wiper, the call everyone's been dreading comes on the radio. A fire alarm has been triggered. The address? Right across the street. Adam looks over at the building and can see a faint orange glow in the windows on the 2nd floor. He reports the glow. He and Rick get ready in case Mr. Firebug decides to cross their path. Several officers arrive and set a perimeter around the building as the glow gets brighter and brighter. Unfortunately, by the time the fire department gets there, flashover happens and all the windows on the 2nd floor get blown out. It was so hot that Adam felt sweat form on his face. The fire department needs to get the hoses set up, but Karen's car is in the way. Using safety hammers, they break the windows and run the hoses through, getting everything set up in record time. During all of the chaos, Karen comes out and she sounded like a banshee that had swallowed an air raid siren. She runs over and tries unhooking the hose from the hydrant. "What are you doing? My car is ruined!" It took 2 officers to restrain her and bark at her to go inside and let everyone do their jobs. She actually listened and returned inside. Adam spent the rest of his shift helping with the fire and investigation. It was close to dawn when he returned to the station to finish up. All he wanted was to go home and crawl into bed. That's when his supervisor calls Rick and him over and reports that Karen reported several $1,000s worth of damage. Not only had her windows broken, but water had gotten in and froze because it was, again, the middle of February. The supervisor asked them what happened and they reported everything. Fortunately, the dash cam caught a recording of the event. The supervisor shook her head, laughed, and said, "Well, you had nothing to do with the car getting damaged, so I consider this closed." A few weeks later, they caught the Firebug, a different business owner who was trying to commit insurance fraud. He figured that if several other buildings caught fire, nobody would think he was responsible for burning down his own business. Unfortunately, Karen never did seem to learn her lesson, so she was back to racking up tickets and being a thorn in the police's side. She did have to pay for the damages and the ticket Adam gave her. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Zorgalacticus. It says, "The fire truck in our city has a huge bumper guard on the front. They can, and have, used it to just shove the vehicle out of the way. The best example was a BMW parked right by a fire hydrant. Shoved it out into the street, caving in the rear of the car. then called for a tow because it was blocking traffic.